Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to John's Nerdy Reviews. I, of course, am John, and today we've got some 90s goodness. We are going to be taking a look at this amazing omnibus, Spider-Man by Todd McFarlane. Classic artwork. Look at that. It's just insane. This book retails for $75, but you can find it cheaper than that on places like cheapgraphicnovels.com. Even Amazon, probably you could get it for a little bit cheaper than that. This thing, very nostalgic. Not super strong writing, but who cares because it's Todd McFarlane drawing Spider-Man. Let's go to the table and take a look at this. Mwah. All right, here is the dust jacket for Spider-Man by Todd McFarlane. I just got the regular cover. This is, it's basically the cover to Spider-Man #1. But it also comes in different variants that I'll put on the screen. So that's what the spine of the book looks like. It's compared to other omnibuses, it's not super big. Because there's only, the Todd McFarlane issues in here. So it collects Spider-Man 1 through 14 and 16 and X-Force #4. So we do have that Rob Liefeld and Fabian Nicieza issue of X-Force in there. So this is the back of the dust jacket. It just shows the covers for each issue that's in this book. And then there's some write-ups on the inside about the creators. And then just a little synopsis of the comic. Now, the boards of the book are pretty awesome. You get this really nice Spider-Man artwork. Fantastic. I mean, this thing looks pretty incredible. I like it when they do this rather than just the black covers with the name of the title. All right. Looking at the spine, it does have a little tiny eye. It's obviously sewn binding, and it lays open fairly well, even in the beginning and the end of the books. So it will lay flat, which is always nice. But let's take a look at what's in here. So you do get all of the credits, the creators listed on the pages here. This is printed at the Donley printer in China. Here's the table of contents. I like when they include this. Trust me, not all omnibuses include a table of contents, and it kind of irks me a little bit, to be honest. But it's nice to see, especially the cover dates and stuff. So when these books were released. And then it just jumps right into it with Spider-Man #1. The stories in here, this is the first story arc is Torment. I think it's a 5 or 6 parter. The stories in here, let's face it, if we're being honest, Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man art, phenomenal. When he got his own series, the writing, not super strong. I would be lying if I said that this is the best comic ever. That would be a total lie. But it is still a fun read. I mean, it's obviously very 90s, like the lizard here looks gruesome, I always found it interesting the way Todd McFarlane draws faces. They're just so unique. Like the big eyes. I don't know. I just think he has a very unique style. Like I said, this is basically, for me, an art book. I mean, I've obviously read way better Spider-Man stories in my life, but I gotta hand it to Todd. The art is incredible in these issues. So the first story arc has the lizard in it, and also Kraven the Hunter's daughter. I guess is it his daughter, or I forget. I just finished this, but I honestly forget already who that is. But yeah, I mean, look at this. Like the panels, the way it's laid out, he was doing all the pencils, all of the writing. It just is really awesome. So the first story arc, I think ends... Oh yeah, it's a 5-parter. So this is the last issue of the first story arc, which was pretty decent. I think this story arc is, I would say, if I had to rate it, I'd say it's a 7 out of 10. I mean, it's not like the best Spider-Man stuff you're going to read, but I thought it was interesting enough. And then you get a little 2-parter that features the Hobgoblin. And something that I really like about his art in Spider-Man is because obviously after he quits Marvel, he goes on to Image to create Spawn. And I feel like you can really see a lot of the precursors to Spawn in his work on Spider-Man, especially, like, look at the Hobgoblin's, like, very flowing cape. That just looks very Spawnish to me. I don't know if anyone else agrees, but you can definitely tell his art style is evolving, even from when he was drawing Amazing Spider-Man with Michelini writing. I like this story arc for its appearance of Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider is one of those very... Ghost Rider fit the time. Let's just say that. It felt... his comics felt very extreme and had that attitude and edge to them that I think was just super appropriate for like the late 80s, early 90s. So I've always enjoyed Ghost Rider. And Hobgoblin, one of my favorite Spider-Man villains. So this little 2-parter, I really enjoyed personally. Like I said, I'm not going to claim that it's the best writing ever, but I definitely enjoyed it. So there's part 2 to the Hobgoblin story. Sometimes it's nice to get like just a quick story that wraps up in 2 issues, because then we get Perceptions, part 1 of 5. So this is a 5-parter, and to be honest, I think this story is probably the best of Todd McFarlane's work on this series. You get Spider-Man in Canada, and you get the Wendigo. And obviously, if you're investigating missing children, you're going to blame the Wendigo. And if you're in Canada, you're going to get Wolverine. Especially when it comes to protecting innocence. Wolverine has a soft spot for children, so he is definitely going to figure out who's been murdering these people. And I'm not going to spoil it, but Wolverine does not believe that it's the Wendigo. So this is the art in here, fantastic. I love how Todd McFarlane started Wolverine in his brown costume. I think he just wanted to draw each iteration of Wolverine. So he started him in his brown costume and got torn to shreds. I think he did that so he could also draw Wolverine in his yellow and blue. So this is the issue where, yep, it gets torn to shreds. I love this piece of art right here. I don't know, there's something about that picture that's just so epic. I mean, literally all the art in here is fantastic, but there's Wolverine in his blue and yellow. Luckily, Wolverine must travel with backup clothing, a backup uniform. And I think, honestly, Todd McFarlane just wanted an excuse to draw both versions of Wolverine, which is awesome. I mean, I enjoy seeing it. So there's 4 of 5. Like I said, the art in here is such a visual treat. So let's get to the next story. There's Puck from Alpha Flight and Sasquatch. All right, then you get to issue 13, Sub-City. This is another 2-parter, and this features Morbius. So again, not the best story, but an excuse to put Spider-Man back in his black suit, which Mary Jane obviously very against because of her interactions with Venom, and she does not want Peter to use this suit, but it works to his advantage because he has to go underground. The brighter colors make it easier for the enemy to see him, so he wants to use the black suit. And really, Todd McFarlane, let's face it, just wanted to draw the black suit. Now, something cool people might not realize about Todd McFarlane is he always hides Felix the Cat in each issue of any comic he draws. And I love trying to find Felix the Cat. So if you ever pick up this omnibus and read it, keep that in mind. Try to find Felix. It's a fun little mini game. So yeah, like I said, this 2-parter has Morbius, and I honestly love the way he draws Morbius. Let me get to Morbius here. Like, look at that. He just makes Morbius this terrifying monster. This is a decent issue, you know. None of them are fantastic, but it's a fun read. I just love look at how he draws faces. It's, you know, just very interesting. And then we get this crap. This is something that the 90s, this is just one of those gimmicks from the 90s. So this is Sabotage Part One, and this is the crossover with X-Force. So this is Spider-Man 16, and then the final part is X-Force number 4, but this is the special sideways issue. So you've got to turn your book and read it like this. Definitely not a fan of these like gimmicks, in my opinion. It's just like, okay, whatever. And this story, honestly, not super thrilled with it. I think the only interesting part involves, let me see if I can find it, involves this scene where Shatterstar charges at the Juggernaut, and there was some controversy. The original panel showed the sword going through Juggernaut's eye, but they had to change it, and it ended up where you see this, and then you just see some blood and Juggernaut screaming. Which brings me to the extras, because you actually get to see what the original panel would have looked like. So, of course, the last issue in here is the X-Force issue by Rob Liefeld. The extras are pretty awesome. So you get to see all the variant covers for the issue number 1. So remember, they came in the poly bag. I always liked the gold second printing. I liked when they did the gold. Let's see if I can find the panel. Oh, here we go. So they actually show what the panel with the Juggernaut was supposed to be. So this is how it was supposed to be, with Juggernaut literally getting stabbed in the eye. They obviously ended up not using that because, you know, censorship, the Comic Code Authority was still around. So this is what we got over here. And I think this was featured, if I'm not mistaken, I read it was in Wizard magazine, where they finally got to show this. But I'm glad that they put it in here in the omnibus, because it's like a cool piece of comic book history. So, yeah, you get, there's Wizard. Some Todd McFarlane covers from Wizard. Then you get some trade paperback covers. So that's kind of cool. Every time it's been reprinted in trade paperback form. And then this is the Spider-Man Torment Premiere hardcover art. There's a cool Ghost Rider cover. Wolverine, Wendigo, and Spider-Man. There's the Sabotage promotional page. So, and then you get original pencils, which I think is really awesome. I always love to see like art galleries like this in the back of Omnis. So there you have it. That is that. And that is Spider-Man by Todd McFarlane. All right, that wraps up today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you consider picking up this book because it is so good. The artwork is so good, regardless of whether the stories are a little bit mediocre. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that like button and consider subscribing. Thanks. Peace.